Hi, my name is Emerson Spar. I'm the Chief Evangelist of Amazon Alexa, and I'm joined today by Angie Hicks, the founder of Angi, which you may know as Angie's List. Angie, thank you so much for joining today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So I know Angie has been experimenting with generative AI for some time now. Can you take us back to maybe the first aha moment that you had that you knew this is going to be something that's really big or meaningful for our company?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to home improvement, one of the biggest challenges is actually helping to relay what the homeowner needs to the pro. It's that kind of, how do you translate it? Homeowners, they love their homes. It's likely their biggest investment, but when you ask them to explain what's going on, they might be like, I don't know what this thing is called or how this works. And so we knew that AI was likely something that could help translate that conversations from homeowners' natural way of explaining into the way, into matching them. Because, it might be easy if you're like, I've got a leaky faucet, I need a plumber, right? But the way that our system worked was you needed to know what kind of trade you needed.
Oh, yeah.
So if you didn't know the task, you were kind of stuck. So we were like, hey, AI is really going to help us kind of take those questions, that language in the way that the homeowner likes to talk about it and help get them directed into the right task.
That's amazing. I do love how sophisticated generative AI is nowadays. That notion where, again, it can sort of get through the weeds and find out exactly what
Right.
the root of the problem is.
And ask the clarifying questions, right? It's kind of like, I might explain it and there's like, so is this having to do with an X, Y, or Z? And and all of a sudden it can really transform where you're going into that process of understanding.
Now, one thing I always find funny, even though they're incredibly powerful, they're incredibly sophisticated, they're not always perfect. And I think we've all had some funny experiences with generative AI. Can you think of any, early funny or potentially challenging situations that you and the team encountered?
Yeah, and I think that's exactly right. And the AI can be incredibly literal, right? It's like, this is what you said, this is what I'm giving you. I think a good example is like if I put in, I can't get my pilot to turn on. And you're like, oh, is that an airline pilot? Is that a car? Is that the pilot light on your furnace? Giving that context to the home improvement space really helps to direct where it needs to go. And that's something that we have done to make sure that we're constantly improving in our process, is taking context from our 30 years of experience in the industry and making sure that we are using that to inform the LLM and the AI to make sure that we get the right output.
So shaping it from being just a general purpose tool to
Right.
really specific for your needs and then the
All,
needs of your
all the way down to our customer care team will actually give feedback into the system so that hey, if we're missing on something, it'll help to fine tune it. So that is a process that we go through all the time here to make sure that that's getting smarter and smarter.
Hmm. And besides the sort of customer-facing side, how has the back of house, the staff adoption of these tools? Because it is a real paradigm shift that I see impacting not just the super technical folks, but really everybody across that spectrum. So how have people been learning and adapting to this new kind of technology?
I mean, it's absolutely a learning curve. I mean, you can, getting our engineers and our product people to adopt the AI is one thing, right? But it's different for them. It's not all in their control. They're using outside, LLMs, and they're pulling content back, and how they work with that is different. But kind of having early success, I think, is also helpful. And I think, as we were developing our AI helper, it's like, hey, let's work at this until we get success. And then once you kind of see success in the organization, then there just gets an energy about it.
Yeah.
Then we also have to go and think about, we're really pushing our team in an AI first mentality. And that doesn't just end in the product and tech organization. We encourage the marketing team and the content team and the legal team to think about, like, how can AI really help what they're doing every day. I mean, one example I had, I was working on an Instagram post, one day. I mean, like we all say this, right? I wrote up something and I was like, that's kind of flat. And I was like, hey, can you take this and make it, better for LinkedIn? And then I was like, and now can you turn it into a 15-second script for Instagram? And I was like, this is great. I'm like, it's like.
Yeah, it's
It made me amazingly more creative there.
yeah, it's funny. I like doing the like LinkedIn posts. I kind of had
Right.
that structure down,
Yeah.
but some of the other social media platforms I'm not quite as familiar with. And it's an amazing like enablement tool to let me more effectively adapt to engage people regardless of where they are.
Correct, correct. It's like, it's like, "Hey, like, what's gonna work best on this platform?"
Yeah.
I'm not I may not be the expert on what's gonna be best on that particular platform, but, with that help, I was able to, kind of make it
Yeah.
more engaging for the group.
Now, how do you think about prioritization? Because there's so many different things that the company could focus on to try
Yeah,
and AI enable, perhaps.
right.
And I see some companies go and they will try to do everything.
Yeah.
And
Boil the
for most,
ocean.
yeah, and for most companies, that's a struggle because
Yeah,
there's just not enough resources around, not enough time.
right.
And then I see others that get almost the analysis paralysis that they don't know where to start because
Yeah,
there's so many options. How does Angie think about
yeah.
prioritizing that?
For us, when we rolled out our AI helper in the middle of last year, it really came down to understanding that problems, set of kind of understanding what the homeowner was looking for was a
Sure.
great place to start, and it's kind of the start of our process. And so we started there, but I'll be honest, when it first rolled out, it didn't make things better.
Interesting.
It's like it's not that's what you have to think about is to be able to persevere and kind of
Yeah.
get to the right solution. I mean, it took a number of iterations before we got it to the point that it was successful. And now, it's having, a real improvement for the 30% of the people that are interacting with it. And it's already out to 30% of the people. So, I encourage people to like kind of choose your task, kind of think about the one that's going to be, kind of most impactful potentially from a customer standpoint, and then, figure out what it takes to get it across the line. Because sometimes you could just be like testing a little bit and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is out to 1% of the traffic, but I've got 5 projects out to 1% of the traffic.
Mm.
I think from a cultural standpoint, being able to get one across the finish line that's kind of that you can point to and shows measurable improvement, I think can really help change how the team thinks about it.
It's been an amazing thing with Alexa Plus that we're in the hands of millions and millions of users
Right.
in the US, Canada, and Mexico right now. And the feedback that we got when we had, thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of users is radically different than the feedback that we're getting now, partly because of the scale that we've
Right.
achieved, and partly because we've, like you have sort of maintained that long-term vision and known we may not be there today, but we know where we want to get to. We know what's right for the customer.
Yeah.
And continuing to do that sort of iterative improvement to get to that final goal.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Now, how do you balance? Obviously, your business is very people-centric.
Mhm.
It's customers, homeowners, people who are coming to you with a problem and connecting them with other people that could help them
Yep.
solve some kind of specialized challenge.
Right.
How do you balance that human touch with a drive to some more of this AI-powered kind of automation or support?
Yeah, that's a great question because I think that's a really important balance. I think, when I think about how AI uh, works and is successful in the organization is really about enhancing that experience. It's not necessarily replacing.
Sure.
So it's like how do we make sure that we have our team members engaging with our customers on the highest touch items and using, AI to really help solve some of those day-to-day things that we were kind of getting stuck on. So we're kind of like, I'm not really sure who does a gas line installation,
Yeah.
right? Is it an HVAC company? Is it
I
a
would
plumber?
myself. Yeah.
Actually a plumber.
Oh,
So it's like, but that's something that that there's not a ton of, it's important that we know and
yeah,
understand that, but it's
absolutely.
not like that needs to be a conversation, but there might be real conversations you want to have. I mean, I think with homeowners, that they're bringing people into their home. There's a high level of trust. So having accessibility to us as an organization, brings value. And when I think about the other side of our customer base is the pros, and the pros are a lot of times small businesses.
Sure.
It's like they might be 4 or 10 people. And, it's like they want to, so how do we balance that customer, experience using AI, but then also giving them a chance? So one of the things that we do, I do chats with pros. Any
Hmm.
pro can sign up and they can have 15 minutes and we'll chat about anything they want, and it's like
Cool.
having that accessibility creates a culture of like, hey, we can get good feedback. We can, we can problem solve real time. And it just makes us move, kind of much more efficiently.
It also, I imagine, makes them feel more valued, like,
Right.
because they know that you are actually listening to them.
Yeah.
You might not be able to solve all problems immediately, but you're actually taking that kind of customer feedback on, the consumer or the professional side
Right.
and using it to guide your future vision.
That's exactly right.
Now, how do you balance things like security and privacy and customer trust with this drive for innovation?
It's like we want people to keep coming back to us. I mean, our goal is not just to help you with the plumber today, it's to help you over the next 20 years
Or
as you, continue to do projects around your house. So building that trust and building that relationship on both the homeowner and also on the pro side, quite honestly, is all about making sure that we are creating an environment they feel comfortable in.
And I think one component of that is the customer or the professional feeling like they have the relationship with your brand,
Correct.
right? And that's one thing that at Alexa that we see is that customers will use Alexa, but they want to know that they're having a relationship with the trusted partner, with
Right.
Angie, with
Yeah.
Uber, with whomever. And we are, super excited about the partnership between Alexa and Angie. How do you how did you decide that that was like a good fit for your business and for your customers? What made you want to pursue that kind of relationship?
Well, I mean, quite honestly, it's really about meeting customers where they are.
Right.
It's like this is another example of how people are getting things done in their home. Their Alexa is sitting there and they are like, I need to do these 5 things. Alexa, please help me, whether it's scheduling a dinner reservation, hiring a plumber, or, booking an airline ticket. They are going that solution, and we want to make sure that we're there, available and accessible because, you know, no one kind of wakes up and says, gosh, I really want to do some home improvement today. I mean, more
Much to
often,
my wife's chagrin, right?
exactly. It's like, yeah, I mean, some people, we do our dream kitchen, we do our backyard project that we wanted to do, but most projects are, the water heater has
Yeah.
cold water, or, the garage door is not working and I'm late for work. Those are things that they just want to get off their plate, get done, and know that they're going to be done well. And that's where, a partnership with Alexa just kind of fits that mentality of like, these are the things that I need to get done just to get back to kind of day-to-day life. And if that's the tool that they're going to use to get that solution, we want to make sure we're there to meet them.
Yeah, I love that. One of the things we have with Alexa Plus is this notion that it should be ambient intelligence,
Right.
that it jumps in to help you with whatever the task might be,
Right.
and then it just fades in the background when you don't need it,
Yeah.
letting you do what you really want to do,
Right.
spend time with your family or hang out with your dogs or like whatever it is.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's that access to that help when
Yeah,
you
it's
need
just
it.
like
That I think is
making it
important.
easy, making it super simple, and that's our goal. And I think that also kind of just talks about how we're thinking about AI, right? So whether it's partnering with Alexa Plus, or whether it's thinking about how to make our funnel where homeowners come and give their requests easier and more relatable, it's like just make it easy.
Yeah.
Homeownership shouldn't be hard. Make it easy. And then, as I think about where we head down the road, is like, how do we do that same thing for the pros who, you know, they love doing their trade. The painter wants to be painting.
However,
That front office stuff of kind of responding to messages and returning phone calls and doing all of this stuff, that is work that's keeping them from doing the thing they love.
yeah.
So how do we help them use AI to streamline those types of things? And it's absolutely a path there, just as there has been with the homeowner for us.
And I do love that AI it can meet individuals based on whatever their capabilities and expertise is. Someone no longer has to be a technology expert. They don't even have to know how to use a mobile phone press. They can just use natural language
Yeah.
to
I could
get
just
to
talk
kind of
to
help
you.
just
Right.
to it. Yeah.
I could just talk to you, explain what I'm looking for.
Yes. Yeah. The same way we might have picked up a phone
Right.
in the older days.
Exactly, exactly, and I think that's the thing that when we think about this is what's exciting about how we're exploring AI is it's actually just making it easier and more conversational, and it takes out the kind of the problem solving and the thinking process, right? Of like, I don't know what kind of roof I have. I don't know. It's like it looks like this, right? Let me describe it to you.
Yeah. I was trying to get my washing machine broke
Oh,
last
I've
week.
got a good story on that. I'm guessing what happened. Like, can I just jump in?
Yep.
I've had this before too. And the first question the pro will ask you is, "Can you give me the model and serial
Right.
number of the washing machine?" You know where that's at,
I
right?
know where it is now. It
It's
took me a
on the
while to
back
find
it's
it.
on the back of the washing machine. You have to basically climb on top and, like, take a picture because you can't actually get
Yeah, that's
yeah.
exactly what I did. Yeah. Yeah, and so yeah, I had to know what model the machine was. I had no idea where to find it, so I had to try and figure out how to find
Right.
it. And then there were all these steps of diagnosis that I probably should have looked up to try and do ahead of time,
Yeah.
but I had no idea. And but to be able to use Alexa for something like that, even just to weed out some of the like upfront data
Right.
gathering kind of steps that it knows a professional is going to need. They know
Right.
they're going to need that
Yeah.
information, and Alexa can help me get to that point and get to the booking and ultimately get to the fixing faster.
Correct.
Incredible.
Correct. And just, yeah, to kind of save you that time and frustration that you might be going through.
And now, how do you see the strategy evolving? I mean, I think it's amazing to think even 3 years, the big picture vision of what this technology could do was nothing like where we are now. It's
Yeah.
advanced so rapidly. Even 6 months ago, for say it's advanced so rapidly. How do you think your strategy will evolve in the next 1, 3, 5 years?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really, so I'm going to date myself. So, we started Angie's List 30 years ago. It was pre-internet days. So when I think about technology and I think about kind of these big changes, I'm like Angie's List was an offline business
Mm.
and then the internet came along. And we evolved that. I think about AI in the same way. It's like how do we use it to kind of help us meet our mission, right? Like how do we to get more jobs done well in the real world? How do we think about that? And so, the homeowner kind of helping them solve their problems and ask their questions in their own words is one thing. I'm like, but that can get smarter and smarter as we go along, right? It may not, it maybe we all remember all of these things next time and I don't have to answer all these questions because it just knows me. And then when you think about the pro side, which I think is just as much opportunity and kind of efficiency, is how do we help them be more efficient? I mean, that's one thing when we've researched with pros, people are always like, hey, how is AI impacting the industry? It's like, it's probably gonna be a long time before, AI is gonna go and fix a faucet, right? It's probably probably still gonna need a person to do that, but what pros are excited about is how AI can help them run their business,
Mm.
and that's where I think we can make some really there's some real opportunity for us.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
And I guess one last question: if you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice when you guys first started working on this kind of technology, what would that advice be? Or perhaps some advice to someone out there who's watching who is in that early stage
Mhm.
of beginning experimenting.
Yeah, I think, it's like find a discrete problem that you think you can kinda solve and go spend some time on that one. It's like you need to have that perseverance, it's remind yourself that this is a learning curve you're going through. We're all learning new things here together and, it's figuring out how to kind of problem solve in a new way. You need to give yourselves the space and the time to do that. And I think whether that's kind of inside the organization, whether that's you outside kind of learning on your own
Sure.
kind of things, but be curious. It's a time to be curious. There's lots to learn right now.
Yeah, it's one of the most exciting things. I'm super excited to see where the technology goes. Super excited to see what Angie and Alexa can build together.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm excited to see how we can continue to make this simpler.
Mm, that's fantastic. Angie, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.